This video shows you how to set up and run the sample application that is built using Capture and RiskGuard APIs and the Vertica Analytics database. The Capture and RiskGuard APIs are part of the OpenText Thrust Services, previously known as IAM services or Information Management Services. In order to use these APIs, you will need to have an active subscription of either the 90-day free trial or the build and test plan. If you have not signed up for your developer account and a subscription plan, now would be the time to do that. You will find a number of resources on the developer.opentext.com website to complete both these steps. You can also watch how-to videos on YouTube that show you how to complete these tasks in a matter of minutes. The demo setup has three parts: code deployment, installation and setup of the Vertica database, uploading the Capture template, and training the Capture service. To begin the setup, download the code from Github by visiting the URL that you see on the screen. You can also clone the repository using the Git command line interface. After you download the code, you will see the following files and folders created on your computer. Next, download and install the latest LTS version of Node.js by going to nodejs.org. If you have an older version of Node on your computer, you can use the Node version manager to install the latest version while preserving the older one. If you end up with multiple versions of Node on your computer, make sure to switch to the latest version. Next, install the Node libraries in the sample application folder using the npm install command. This will create a new folder called Node modules in your application root folder. This takes us to the next part of the setup, which is installing the Vertica Analytics database. First, register for the free trial of Vertica Community Edition by going to vertica.com/try. After completing the registration, log into your Vertica account at my.microfocus.com and verify that your free trial is active. To start the installation of Vertica CE, visit the Vertica documentation website at docs.vertica.com. Vertica provides two options to use the Community Edition: the CE Container Image and the Vertica Community Edition Virtual Machine. For our setup, we will use the CE Container Image and use the Docker Desktop as our container engine. To get Docker, go to docker.com and click on Get Started. From there, you can download and install the Docker Desktop. Once the installation is complete, start the Docker Desktop. The next step is to pull the CE container image from the Vertica Docker Hub registry, as shown on the screen. Copy the pull command and run it on the command line. After the image has been downloaded, it will show up on the Docker Desktop. The next step is to run the Vertica CE container using the image that was just downloaded. From the Docker Hub registry, copy the run command and run it on the command line. Once the run command is fully executed, you will see the Vertica database running. If you go back to the Docker Desktop, it will also show that the Vertica CE container is running. If you ever need to restart the Vertica database, you can always go back to the Docker Desktop and start the Vertica CE container. The next step is to create the database for the demo application. To do that, we will use the admin tool that was installed as part of the Vertica container image. Open another console window and use the docker execute command to launch the admin tool as shown on the screen. Before you can create a new database, you will have to stop the vmart database that was also installed as part of the Vertica CE container image. For that, select option number 4 and click OK. On the following screen, select the vmart database and click OK again. You will be prompted to enter the password for the database. Since you did not specify a password during the container setup, you can simply press enter to stop the database. Now to create the new database, select option number 6, Configuration menu. On the following screen, select option 1, Create Database. For database mode, select Enterprise mode. Provide a database name for the new database. Enter a password on the following screen. Select the host, verify the data directories, and review the database definition. Then click Yes to create the new database. Update the database information in the properties.js file located in the source folder of the demo application. The next step is to create the tables in the newly created database. We will use VSQL that is also included in the Vertica container image. Open another console window and use the docker execute command to launch VSQL as shown on the screen. In the root folder of your demo application, you will find a folder called dbscripts. There are two SQL files in that folder that contain create table SQL queries. Copy, paste, and run these in VSQL, first for the lab reports table and then for the lab report pathogens table. This completes the database setup for our demo application. The final part of the setup is to upload the capture templates to your OCP tenant. The files that need to be uploaded are in the capture template folder in your demo application root directory. To upload the capture template files, you will need to install the Core Capture Designer. To download the Core Capture Designer, open a browser and go to developer.opentext.com and log in using your developer account. After you successfully log in, click on the console link in the top menu and then your organization. Next, click on Tenants in the left-hand side menu, and then on the tenant name on the dashboard. Next, click on Apps menu option on the left, and then on the Core Capture app. Now click on the Link to App hyperlink. This will take you to the Core Capture web application. Make note of the URL and the subscription name in the address bar. You will need these to log into the designer once you've completed the installation. From the menu option in the top right corner, click on Download Core Capture Designer to download the designer. Next, install the Core Capture Designer. When you run the designer, you will be presented with the login screen. Enter the URL that you copied from the address bar earlier. The site name is a subscription name without the -cap at the end. Note that the email address and password are your tenant email address and password. If you do not remember your tenant password, you can always go back and reset it in the Admin Center as shown on the screen. When you click Connect, it will authenticate your credentials and return with the subscription name. Click Connect again to complete the login. The first time you log into the Core Capture Designer, it creates a new user profile folder on your computer. On a Windows machine, this folder is located in the Documents folder of your Windows user. Copy the files from the Capture Template folder into the Profile folder. Now, in the Designer, go to Publish to Development on the top, and then select DNA Stool Analysis under Document Types, Information Extraction under Recognition Project, and Lab Report Information Extraction under Capture Profiles. Next, click on the Publish button at the bottom to upload these three to the Capture subscription. This is all you need to do in the Designer. The next step is to train the Capture service to recognize and process documents of your specific type. Log back into the Capture web application. You should see the Lab Report Information Extraction tile appear on the dashboard. Click on this tile. On the next screen, upload the sample PDF file that is included in the application package. The Core Capture service will scan the document and attempt to classify it and identify all the data fields in the document for extraction. Click Continue to move to the next screen where it will show you which data fields have been successfully captured and which require further training of the AI engine. For all the fields on the right that have been left blank, select the field and then the data point on the document. To extract data from the table, start populating the fields by selecting the data from the first row. Then use the autocomplete option to capture the rest of the rows. Review all the captured data and make corrections where necessary. As you go through each row on the right, you will see the corresponding data selected on the document on the left. For any field that is not captured correctly, you can redo the data selection on the left. Once all the data has been captured, click on Submit. Repeat this process in the Capture web application a couple or more times and make necessary corrections in order to fully train the Capture service on this type of document. Once this is done, you will be ready to run the demo application. We are now all set up to run the application. Before you run the sample application, open the properties.js file in the source folder and update the properties for your tenant ID, tenant username and password, and the client ID and secret for the cloud app associated with your tenant. The sample application has a client side that serves the web page and makes the API calls, and a server side that connects to the Vertica database. To run the client-side application, open a terminal window and run the npm start command as shown on the screen. Running this command will also open the application front-end in your default web browser. To compile and run the server-side application, open another console window and run the npm run command to first build the server and then to start the server, as shown on the screen. This demo has 4 sections. The first section allows you to fetch the access token using the credentials in the properties.js file. The second section uses RiskGuard API service to identify any PII in the uploaded file. Use the lab report sample file that has been provided in the application package to test this service. The third section uses the capture API service to extract data from the lab report. This is where the capture template that you uploaded earlier gets used by the capture service. The last section is to upload the extracted lab report data into the Vertica CE database. The server console shows the ID assigned to the newly inserted record. You can also query the database tables to verify the data inserted into the database. This concludes our demo of the sample application. I hope this demo helped you to understand how to use the Thrust Services APIs and the Vertica Analytics database. Thank you for watching this video.